And
Alrighty, welcome back
Andy
to
from Toy
Awesome
Story.
Games Done Quick 2018. I am Darkman78, and I am also surrounded by a bunch of prizes. And with me here is Andy, Christos Owen. These two are the Link to the Past randomizer runners. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
So Link to the Past randomizer is going to be after this Final Fantasy IV run coming up. So I'm going to start with you, Andy. Randomizer, I mean, what exactly should we expect out of a randomizer race? Obviously, it's not like your normal like Link to the Past where you just, beat the game. There's obviously a lot of, things that you may not be expecting, we may not be expecting. What should we expect out of a randomizer match?
Don't expect it to be perfect because it's not going to be.
Okay.
Especially swordless, since that recently got met, it's going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah. So talk to me about randomizer because Chris, when I think randomizer, I think, okay, everything is being randomized. They may not be able to complete the game. So how does that work?
Right, so how it's designed is the items are always placed in places that you can get them. So every time you can beat the game, essentially. So there's never any worry of getting stuff locked or anything like that. The really exciting thing is obviously trying to work out what the optimal route is based on what you find, and then just reacting on the fly. What's the best decision I can make here?
Sure.
What's going to be the most fun, best thing to do?
Sure. So how do you exactly prepare for a randomizer? What are the facets of, I guess, your speedrunning repertoire, for lack of a better word, that you're, kind of tapping into to kind of, prepare for an upcoming race?
Well, we've both been speedrunning this game for 5 or 6 years now, so we have all the mechanics and all that stuff down pretty much. But it takes a pretty vast knowledge of the game to know okay, I got this, so I should do this, this, and this instead of doing that.
Sure.
If we're planning a route and we get an item, changing that on the fly is a necessity essentially.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of obscure game mechanics which you don't get to see in speedruns, which you'll see from both of us. There's the pull prizes from the trees, manipulating enemy drops, things like that, which you can't really make good use of, but in randomizer it's obviously all different, so it makes a big difference.
Sure. So I know there's definitely major items that you get that are part of the race. So maybe you can give me a basic primer. What are the things that the audience at home should be looking out for, for you guys to collect or not collecting?
Moon Pearl, Hammer, Mirror are three pretty big ones for swordless. Hammer being the main weapon you get.
Yeah, there's a certain set of items which you 100% need to beat the game, which people refer to as progression items.
Okay.
And then you might see us skip things which are helpful but not required, like armor upgrades, heart containers, the bug net, stuff like that.
Right. So what goes through your minds when you're going through a race and you're going along and maybe you have the items you need to progress, but you don't have an item say the boots or something that make you dash faster. So what goes through your minds? You can't see your opponent. You don't know, they may have it and you don't. So what kind of goes through your mind? You're late in the game and you just don't necessarily have everything you want to have.
Well, if you have everything you need to beat the game, well, boots is interesting because sometimes you need the boots to beat Ganon's Tower.
Sure.
So going not checking anything once you get boots is a little scary sometimes, but the likelihood that you'll need them is pretty low, and the likelihood that you're going to find them in random chests that you keep checking, is it worth the time lost to check extra stuff for the time save that you'll get if and when you get them?
Sure.
So you got to weigh checks, balances, risk, reward, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I try and just play my own game, try and not worry too much about what my opponent may or may not have done, because you can get yourself into all sorts of trouble if you do that.
Yep.
Particularly with Andy, I'm hoping to not find the boots so he doesn't get an advantage with a glitch called hovering. Or cheating, as some people like to refer to it as. But we'll see what happens. Should be fun.
Sure. So is there that element of risk, I guess? Are there certain things you would do that maybe are higher risk because you're missing something that you feel you need? Talk to me about, I guess, some of the options that you have, that maybe increase the element of risk throughout the run.
I mean, there's lots of decisions you can make to potentially skip one chest, hoping that it's something you don't need compared to something else. Once you check a lot of things and all that's left is a couple things here and there all over the place, you have to gauge which ones you want to skip, which ones you want to check, or how you want to check them efficiently.
Gotcha.
Efficiency is very key.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, real quick, we're gonna go do a couple of these social media questions. So first one, we're going to go with Paul Lance 97 says, what is the hardest part about running the randomized category of ALTTP? Any one of you guys?
Yeah, sure. For me, it's So at the start of the run, there's usually a set route everyone will take. Then after that, it's knowing like what's the smart decision to make, because there's obviously loads of options.
Sure.
And there's not always an obvious answer.
Sure.
So like item density, so being efficient is super important. And there are other times where you just have to gamble and guess, and it can just come down to luck.
Sure. Okay. All right. So we have a very special question from Fat Homie who says, "What do you think the big key to this race is? Do you think you guys will mirror each other, or will either of you try anything risky?"
I mean, I know how Chris plays. He plays pretty logistically, as do I. So, not necessarily trying to mirror, but I'm gonna, as things happen, I'm gonna be like, do I think Chris would do this? Because I don't want to potentially skip something that I know he would do.
Yeah.
And have it be something that I need.
I think Andy is owed a console reset kick, so that could be the big key to the race here. So, no, just kidding.
Wow.
Man.
All right. I got a very special question from my good friend Graham Pooh Bear, who says, "Who's your favorite Rando Link sprite replacement, and why is it the pug?" Andy, why is it the pug?
I mean, it's probably the cutest sprite there is. It's got a little curly tail. He opens his mouth real wide when he gets stuff. It's just super cute. I can't say no to it.
Pugs are good. Are pugs good, Chris?
No, they're pretty terrible,
Oh, okay,
actually.
that's fair.
It's Andy's whole thing, though. My favorite is Roy Cooper. I used to speedrun Super Mario World, and it's just objectively the coolest.
Okay.
Cooper. So that's my boy.
Can't really argue with that. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for answering our questions. We really appreciate it. Good luck on your race. But before we finish, you guys are all asking for him. The man is awaiting because there's only one subject that's on everybody's mind right now: prizes.
Dark man.
Sent.
Prizes.
Prizes.
Wonderful.
Go on.
Will do. Let me just set that there real quick. All right, guys. So coming up, we have our great Final Fantasy IV run, and we have even more wonderful prizes we can really throw on top of stuff. So first off, we have this amazing picture of a Zeal sent to us by Studio Pen Pen. And I'm sure someone's asking, Sent, why do you have a Chrono Trigger picture for a Final Fantasy run?
Don't worry about it.
I mean, River said it himself. Chrono Trigger is the best Final Fantasy.
Okay.
So we're already there. Second, from our good friend Dot Decor, we have this wonderful composition of Kane and Cecil.
Let's see.
It's actually done with individual colored dots stuck to the board. So kind of got that, textured perler effect, but out of basically sticky notes.
That's actually incredible.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool art style. I'm a huge fan of this. Again, running from now until the end of the marathon, so make sure you get your donations for it. And the last new thing I want to go over with you guys is Press Start to Translate from Fangamer and League of Localizations.
There you go. You did it.
No, not the PC game, the book team. Completely different thing.
I'd hope so.
Anyway, this is actually a really cool book. So what Clyde did for this is basically he took Final Fantasy IV and dumped it into the facsimile of Google Translate and just kind of printed what came out and then discussed okay, here's contextually why the machine thinks this is supposed to sound like that. And it's actually something that really hit home reading through it because, like I said earlier, I'm a huge fan of the Tales series. I'm a huge fan of a lot of JRPGs. And, when I was younger, one of my thoughts was always, well, why does it take so long to translate these games? Why can't we have it now? Just plug it into Google and we're done, right?
I'm going to take a choice quote from this. "Here is the sieve from the sieve. I do not think its pollution is good." There you go.
Its pollution is probably not good.
Probably
and
not.
neither is that translation. But it's a wonderful book, and it explains all of the reasons why you really can't just shove text into a translator and get a comprehensible game. There's a lot more to localization than just understanding the raw language. And of course, guys, we have all kinds of stuff that's been going all day that's still going. We have those lovely Sage 7+1 gaming headset. That's a $25 donation from now until the end of the marathon. Definitely love the big ear cups, love the sound quality, great stuff. And we have all of the wonderful, wonderful prizes donated to us by Bandai Namco. You can see plenty of shirts over there for Code Bane, for Dragon Ball Fighters, for Sword Art Online. You get, the Tales of Xillia Collector's Edition with all the wonderful stuff in it. You get all of these great games: Project Cards, Sword Art Online, Hollow Realization, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Gundam Versus, as well as the Gundam Versus folders. And I can't forget, of course, that amazing Thrustmaster GT steering wheel. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. That thing is more expensive and nicer than my car. Just genuinely straight up. It's designed to give you realistic force feedback as if you were driving yourself, and that's nuts. It brings a whole new dimension to racing games. That is a $120 minimum bid. So get your donations in for that. Get your donations in for the marathon. And remember that that's basically going to put you at the 150 minimum bid entry throughout the marathon for the grand prize, which is a PS4, an Xbox One, and a Nintendo Switch all together. That's 3 8th generation consoles in one prize.
You need consoles to play all this.
Oh, yeah, you certainly do.
So just get your donations in. All right, well, I believe that's going to wrap it up. Am I correct?
Yep,
Prizes?
That's just about it.
Your name's not even sent anymore. You're just prizes.
I'm apparently just prizes now.
Okay. All right, well, once again, with me here is prizes. Andy, Chris Owen. Good luck, guys, on the randomizer race.